Few cars are as truly legendary as the Porsche 911. Instantly recognized all over the world, it is a car that has stood the test of time. Ever since its inception in 1963, the 911 has been the people's supercar, bringing the heat to the likes of Ferrari and Lamborghini in terms of performance, yet remaining usable on a daily basis and of course being more accessible price-wise. In short, the Porsche 911 is an icon of modern motoring and one that has already cemented its place in the history books. We'll take a look back at its evolution, charting the most notable models during its reign. The original Porsche 911 was actually called the 901, but due to the objection from Peugeot over any naming convention with zero in the middle, it was soon changed to 911. The car bearing the 901 name was first shown at the 1963 Frankfurt Motor Show with a rear-mounted air-cooled flat-six engine. This type of engine is known as the boxer because the two banks of cylinders punch at one another. The first production 911 made 130 horsepower, which was also coincidentally its top speed in miles per hour. It could also handle the corner better than any muscle car of the day, yet it could also glide over bumps in the road like those big American land barges. Both engine size and power outputs swelled over the next decade, culminating in perhaps the most coveted of all early 911s, the 2.7 Carrera RS. The car was a homologation special of the original Porsche 911. Designed to allow Porsche to compete in FIA Group 4 competition, the Carrera RS featured a larger 2.7-liter flat six making 210 horsepower, as well as ducktail spoiler, stiffer suspensions and larger rear wheels. Each new iteration of 911 was internally codenamed with a letter of the alphabet, but it wasn't until reaching G that there was a discernible difference in styling and tack, and the dawn of new generation. The G series ran for a long time too, debuting in 1973 and only being replaced in 1989. The G body saw the introduction of impact bumpers to conform with low-speed protection requirements of US law, these bumpers being so successfully integrated into the design that they remained unchanged for 15 years. 3-point safety belts fitted as standards and seats with integrated headrests also provided increased occupant safety. The most significant move made in this time was the introduction of turbocharging to the 911. The turbo you see above arriving in 1975 with a mighty 260 horsepower, powering the rear wheels. Back then though, turbochargers were saved for only the fastest 911s. With its unique combination of luxury and performance, the turbo became a synonym for the Porsche brand. The 964, to give its internal codename, arrived at the very end of 1980s, bringing with it some mildly updating styling, but a whole hat of new tech. In fact, it was 85% new. Four-wheel drive arrived for the first time, as did other tech goodies like power steering, ABS brakes and airbags. While initially die-hard 911 fans took some convincing of the changes that were made, today the 964 is highly prized as a brilliant example of 911, one that combines classic looks with contemporary modern technology. The first 964 Porsche 911 Turbo model, which was sold in 1981 and 1982 model years, used a 3.3-liter engine with 320 horsepower, but in 1993, Porsche switched it to 3.6-liter engine with 360 horsepower. Turbo variants included the Turbo S Leichtbau or lightweight and the flat-nosed Turbo S Flachbau with its distinctive slanted front end. We're going to stick with Porsche's internal model codes, both to avoid confusion and because they are reasonably well known among car nerds. The 993 arrived just 5 years after the 964 and is still regarded by many Porsche diehards as the prettiest and best charged of the lot. Porsche refers to 993 as a significant advance, not just from a technical but also a visual perspective. Porsche's engineers devised a new light alloy subframe with coil and wishbone suspension, putting behind the previous liftoff oversteer and making significant progress with the engine and handling, creating a more civilized car overall and providing an improved driving experience. The 993 was also the first 911 to receive a 6-speed transmission. It was the last 911 with an air-cooled engine, while it also introduced perhaps the latest car in 911 history to drive, the GT2. To take their turbo engine 993 racing, Porsche developed the rear-wheel drive GT. Huge power transmitted only to the rear wheels is what makes GT2 perhaps the best display those tail-happy tendencies brought by the 911's infamously unconventional rear engine layout. Small wonder it earned itself the nickname Widowmaker. Following such a loved generation of car, the 1998 arrival of the water-cooled 996 was met with grumbles and cries of "it's lost its character," something of a running theme for new generation 911s and the implacable Porsche aficionados they've tried to please. Those nonplussed by the change in hardware were probably upset by the looks, the 9111 gaining its first major styling change, not dissimilar to the cheaper Boxster and notable for its shock horror, non-elliptical headlights. The MK2 996 also marked the arrival of another 9111, GT2, and while it was a bit less hairy than its 90s namesake, it was still 198 miles per hour, turbocharged 9111 without the safety of a four-wheel drive system. Like the 993 GT2, the body of the 996 GT2 differed significantly from those of other 996 variants. Major differences included wider fenders, a more aggressively shaped nose, and large rear wing. Round headlights made a swift return in 2004 with the arrival of all-new 911 generation. Its shape was broadly the same as 996, but its detailing more delicate. Larger 18-inch wheels were fitted as standard, and other engineering changes include slightly increased power. However, the car is technically very similar to its predecessor, albeit with many revisions. Once again though, claims of diminishing of character greeted the 997's arrival, with purists gambling about less fulsome steering and the softening of the 911's exciting edge thanks to stronger grip. Once again, many variants were introduced, including the GT3 RS Faux, launched in 2011, was the final evolution of the 993 GT3 and featured a 4-liter flat-six engine, the largest engine offered in a street-legal 911. The 991 arrived in 2011, and while it may have been coined the prettiest 911 in decades, nothing could save it from a wrath of criticism for its new electric steering. Still, there has been plenty to distract from that. The car boasts a number of new features and innovations, including a torque vectoring system, active suspension management, and four-wheel steering. It will go down in the history as the last of 911s to have naturally aspirated Carreras to rev to the heavens. The 911 GT2 RS was officially launched by Porsche at the 2017 Goodwood Festival for Speedlong. It is powered by a 3.8-liter twin turbocharged flat-six engine generating a maximum power of 690 horsepower. In late September 2017, the GT2 RS set a 6-minute 47.3 seconds lap time around the Nürburgring, which made it the fastest Porsche road car lap time recorded on the track at that time. And so we came to the current generation. It's the culmination of more than half a century of iteration with occasional leap and bounds. The 992 is certainly an evolution of the jump for what that was the 991. The Carrera 4S and 4S all now have the same wide rear fenders. The door handles now are recessed and pop out for use. A neat detail is contoured hood, mimicking that of the original 911 Classic. Moving inside, the 992 gets a clean cabin design that's a modern interpretation of air-cooled 911s. The 911 GT3 RS is the only engine to offer a naturally aspirated 4-liter flat-six making 518 horsepower. The Turbo and Turbo S both feature a 3.8-liter twin-turbo flat-six, making 572 horsepower and 640 horsepower respectively. Today, 911 is the whole package. It offers performance, style, and luxury. Its broad lineup of trims gives buyers the choice of what blend of those attributes they'd like. It almost seems impossible to think of how Porsche can improve on the concept and where the 911 can go. With the advent of EVs, we sure hope the iconic 911 isn't going anywhere soon.